you've probably seen every single episode of all 3 seasons of Big Mouth, but if you're anything like me, you still have so many unanswered questions and theories. And while some of them have been slightly hinted at by the cast and creators, there's still so much to speculate on. I'm Whitney Van Lanningham, and today we're gonna break down some of the biggest Big Mouth theories out there. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our super nerd sponsor of the day, Lauren Linton. Thanks to hormone monsters like them, Nerdwire is able to keep this show truckin'. Want to show your support? Click the link in the description box and see if any of our donation tiers on Patreon work for you. And if you can't donate, no prob. Just make sure you're subscribed, notified, and that you like all of our videos. Now on to Big Mouth theories! First up, I know you're probably dying to know who the ponytail killer is. Even though Chris and I did that whole video with our theories after season 2, there really wasn't a ton of new evidence to ponder in season 3. We had such a strong list of candidates. Guy Bilzerian, Cantor Dina, Rabbi Poblart's son Lior. None of them were suspicious this season, and there didn't seem to be any more murders in town. But we do have a couple important clues that might lead to the reveal of the PTK's identity. In the episode Celsi, we see that the ponytail killer is online watching Andrew's livestream. Moments later, when Andrew walks outside, there's a man with a long brown ponytail leaning against a red Mazda. An Amber Alert goes out later in the episode, saying that a man in a similar vehicle kidnapped a child in Bridgeton.
But also there is a kid missing in a red Mazda.
Oh no.
And I know what you're thinking. Just because he has a ponytail doesn't make him the killer. Or more likely, but Whitney, PTK's car is blue. But come on, he crashed his car. He probably needs a new one. We also know that he's definitely at the very least a child napper and probably a pedophile, so the red Mazda guy is just aces all around. But the Mazda guy's MO is totally different from the PTK's. He's kidnapping, and the PTK is stalking, killing, and haircutting. I'd say I'm still on the fence about this one, but I really hope that they give us more to analyze next season. The next theory we'll talk about is this burning question. Who's the secret daughter that Jay's mom confessed to having?
My name is Jay's mom, and I have a secret daughter.
Sit down!
Is Guy Bilzerian such a misogynist that he made his wife give up their daughter? Is her daughter living with someone else? Is the baby a secret love child that Guy doesn't know about? Or is she currently pregnant? I've heard a lot of people say that they think Coach Steve is the father of Jenna Bilzerian's secret offspring, but I don't really think that the timelines match up. Unless she's currently pregnant, has taken a sonogram, and is just revealing the news at a super inappropriate time, that baby can't be Steve's because Steve recently lost his virginity to her. I don't think Jay's mom had time to cook and hatch a whole child in the time since, but I guess anything's possible with cartoon logic. But who could the secret daughter be? One theory says it's gotta be Lola. Maybe Mrs. Bilzerian is her real mom, and Lola's mom adopted her. That would explain why Miss Scumpy doesn't really seem to care about her daughter.
It looks like you're cut out of the frame.
I know, my mom is so funny. This one time, she always jokes that she wishes I was Devin.
Lola's always left home alone with no food, and has even said that her mom's boyfriend has kicked her out of the house in the middle of the night. She regularly eats cold lean cuisines and something called breakfast sauce, basically because her mom leaves her to fend for herself. Perhaps that's because she's not Lola's real mom, and therefore feels no emotional connection to her. The rest of these theories have to do with hormone monsters in one way or another, so let's talk about them next! With their new spin-off, Human Resources, on the way, I've been pondering these horny, hairy dudes a lot. And that just when I'm masturbating to Jed's BO or Leah's red bathing suit. For starters, why is it that some characters have hormone monsters that they, the viewers, and other Big Mouth monsters interact with, but others don't? The easy answer is, of course, that if every single kid on the show had a hormone monster, Bridgeton Middle School would be a lot more crowded, and there would be way too many characters to keep up with. But thinking about this from a dumb TV-making standpoint is lame and boring, so let's jazz it up with some wacky theories that may or may not be true. Remember, this is just for fun. I'm definitely not saying that all this stuff is gonna happen. So we know why people switch hormone monsters, but why do some people not have them at all? What we know is that you receive your hormone monster at the onset of puberty, and that Coach Steve's hormone monster, Rick, departed after he lost his virginity. Now, we don't know if loss of virginity is the only factor involved in outgrowing a hormone monster, but it is the only one we've seen. So as far as we can tell, the only people who don't have hormone monsters are prepubescent kids and anyone who got laid. We know this because each of the kids at Bridgeton Middle seem to get their hormone monsters in different ways, and sometimes at different times. Nick's hormone monster changes when their predecessor doesn't work out, and Missy seemed to outgrow Connie as her hormone monstress after meeting Mona, who took her through some sexy new changes. But why doesn't Jay have a hormone monster? Or Lola, or Devin, or Devon, or the creepy Johansson twins? What if the characters on this show who don't have hormone monsters have all been deflowered? We've got a kid who openly shoves his boner into all types of pillows, a girl with barely half a parent who loves rubbing fronts, a hot junior high power couple who have a relationship serious enough for child marriage, and 2 hot German twins who definitely smooch and may or may not be cannibals. The odds of that group being virgins seems pretty slim, right? I hate to disappoint this theory, but I rank it as mostly unrealistic. All of the kids on the show are like 12 or 13. That is way too young to bone down. There's plenty of time to bang a rang when you're older. Just stick to awkward school bus makeouts like I did. Also, I'm pretty sure that masturbating into a pillow doesn't count as swiping your V card. And there's no way that Devin and Devon have had sex, because she only promises to give his penis a vigorous low 5 after their child wedding. As for the foreign exchange Shining twins, who's to say? The age of consent in Germany is like 14, and they're planning on eating their classmates. They seem advanced enough. Before we move on, let me just say this one more time. These are children, they're not boning! Gross! Also, Nick Kroll confirmed on Twitter that Jay really is his own hormone monster. So the theory that he has some mystery hormone monster to be revealed in later seasons is out for me. But I do think we might still find out who Lola's hormone monstress is. Remember Lorraine from Human Resources? Homegirl has the exact same bangs as Lola. And okay, matching bangs might not mean they're bonded for life by the horrors of puberty, but I can totally see Lorraine and Lola as a team. Lola's kind of a follower, and Lorraine seems to be a bit airheaded and easily suggestible herself. She basically just giggles constantly. And Lola makes some really erratic choices, like the kind of choices you'd make if your hormone monster didn't actually talk to you. What if Lorraine is Lola's hormone monstress and she just kind of sucks so far? I personally hope that in future seasons, if this is true, we'll see Lola start to understand her giggle language like Han Solo does with Chewbacca. Plus, it would probably be really nice for Lola to always have someone around her to laugh at her jokes. In reality, her life is pretty dang sad and lonely. Once it was revealed that adults could see their own monsters, like when Andrew's mom is visited by the menopause banshee, I started wondering what kind of hormone monsters their parents used to have. This led me to another theory, that Dr. Elliot Birch might have had a hormone monstress just like his son Nick. The evidence? Nick's dad is super in touch with his feelings, an ally to women, and an enthusiastic master in the art of cunnilingus. He also has like an incredible beauty routine. And who's currently teaching little Nicky about all of those things? Connie! We know that Connie wasn't Dr. Birch's hormone monstress. She tells us that Nick is her first boy ever. But it's definitely possible that the Birchmen are driven by some feminine energy. As soon as Connie comes on board, Nick gets sensitive nipples. And who suggested he rub aloe vera on those nips? Connie. And I bet a hormone monstress taught Soft Daddy everything he knows about moisturizing too. In season 3, Nick begins his lessons on how to be an ally to women when Connie teaches him to speak up for the women around him and listen to his girlfriends. Likewise, Dr. Birch takes the time to explain the downfalls of toxic masculinity to Andrew and Nick, rebels against traditional gender roles in the family, and openly expresses his feelings on a regular basis. And lastly, come on. We all know that women are way better at munch and rug than dudes will ever be. It stands to reason that a hormone monstress would have taught Nick's dad everything he knows about tongue and taco. And hopefully, Nick will follow in his footsteps when he's older.
Now let's go upstairs and give your breath its signature scent.
Next up, we have one of my favorite theories I've heard so far. What if Coach Steve is a little off because he got trapped in human resources for a while? Maury says if you stay in there too long, your puberty might be stunted forever, or you might remain emotionally immature. Don't get me wrong, Coach Steve is lovable and funny, but as Tan France put it, that is a dumb man. He has about the same social knowledge as the middle schoolers in this show. When he tries to teach sex ed class, he doesn't even know what half the stuff they're supposed to be learning is. He's also a virgin until Jay's mom comes along, and he's pretty naive, gullible, and suggestible. I definitely think that this theory is plausible, and I really hope that they explore it in human resources. I want a whole Coach Steve origin story, damn it! This last theory has become pretty popular since season 3's episode Supermouth, in which all of the characters developed superpowers that revealed their greatest strengths and deepest insecurities. But who assigns these powers to them? Lord Infinite himself, Caleb. He has a whole sketchbook full of comic-style drawings of his friends as heroes, along with the super names he's given them. The theory about Caleb is this. What if, like the superheroes at Bridgeton Middle, Caleb uses fantasy elements like hormone monsters and depression kitties to relate to what his classmates are going through? Like that show St. Elsewhere, where everything turned out to be in Tommy Westfall's head. Shout out to Johnny Two Cellos for doing an entire video covering this theory. Go check out his channel and definitely that video for a deeper dive. By now, most fans have agreed that Caleb has some version of autism spectrum disorder, just like Tommy Westfall, and that's what gives him his observational nature, blunt commentary, and expansive imagination. He sees his friends struggling with puberty, horniness, hairiness, stinkiness, and angstiness, and connects with them in his own way. For example, in the Season 3 episode The Asses, Caleb declares that he has action figures of all of his classmates. If Caleb is already reenacting his perspective of his fellow middle schoolers with action figures, who's to say he doesn't add in a few other magical elements? Maybe Caleb sees hormones and puberty as a monster that's taken over his buddies. Of course, there's a few holes in this theory. For example, most of the kids' interactions with the hormone monsters happen in scenes away from Caleb. How could he have known about the menopause banshee visiting Mrs. Glauberman in Florida, or about Nick and Missy changing hormone monsters? He's not there at night when Andrew is jerking off and making toxic YouTube videos, and I'm not sure how he could have come up with Kristen Wiig's voice as Jesse's vagina. Also, the world of human resources seems to exist completely separately from the human world, and while I'm sure Caleb is creative enough to imagine that place, it seems like they had their own thing going on in the monster realm way before Caleb was even a twinkle in his dad's ballsack. But that being said, I really like this theory a lot. Caleb is arguably one of the best characters on this show, and I'd be really excited for them to reveal that he's behind Maury, Connie, the Shame Wizard, and all the other hormone monsters we know and love. Once again, y'all, these are just theories, so be sweet to each other when you're debating in the comments. Like and subscribe to Nerdwire, click to the left of my face for more Big Mouth videos, don't forget to check out Johnny Two Cellos, and always live your life like Jay! Be your own hormone monster!